Hi, everyone. Thanks for stopping by the Marita Moment. This is my backup channel to the Marita Minute. But I wanted to add on to what I have posted. I posted a video on the Marita Minutes channel about Kandi and Todd. That would be Candy Burris and Todd Tucker. Um, Candy being the Real Housewives of Atlanta housewife, former housewife. She wasn't on there this the past couple of seasons. However, she met her husband, Todd Tucker, on the show. He was a producer, a line producer on the show. And he developed quite a name for himself in the beginning because people looked at him as being an opportunist. Um, there were several people that came out that labeled him a opportunist and tried to forewarn Candy about dating him or getting involved with him because he was only looking for a come up. I mean, there were different flags along the way. Now, mind you, that was in the beginning. And people were giving him the side eye. Um, so once they had gotten settled into their relationship, I mean, I guess it really wasn't all eyes on them. As far as I'm concerned, I wasn't really checking for them. But they had a little boy and they have a little girl. And you didn't think about them anymore. You know what I'm saying? However, there were bits and pieces, there were flags that were coming out that would give you the impression that things weren't always peachy keen or sunshine and roses in their relationship, which they're not in any relationship. In any relationship. I would say that, so my question to you all out there, was Todd playing the long game? Do you think that he went to an attorney to see what possibly he could get out of this whole relationship? Their prenup was supposed to be ironclad. Like, if he walked away from the relationship, he got nothing. However, I'm hearing now that it may have been more so if he stayed within the relationship for 10 years, then maybe he would get something. I guess he had to stay there for 10 years. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I don't believe that. All I know is that supposedly Candy filed divorce papers on Todd. People were, rumors were rolling because evidently Candy went to BravoCon without him, without her wedding ring, and supposedly removed the last name Tucker from her social media presence. So people started talking. So within days, it came out that she had filed for divorce from Todd after 11 years. But they said the flags were there all along. Like he had made comments about wanting to be with his, hang out. His ex-girlfriend, who he left for Candy, told everybody that he told her that, she didn't think he could sing. He wasn't into her. She had a nice behind, but the face was all right, like he was settling. However, Miss Joyce or Mama Joyce had been on Todd since day one. And I remember them sitting at a dinner table and he was like, what do I get out of being with Candy? I don't want Candy for her money. What do I get out of it? And she goes, the new lifestyle, pretty much. I remember listening to Cadillac Kimberly. And Cadillac Kimberly used to always go in on Candy and talk about how much all she did was take care of her men. So it wasn't anything that was not known to the industry. Cadillac Kimberly used to talk about Candy horribly.
And it's Candy coming back with them new fucked up titties. They long, wide, and stiff. Look like she got them done at the kitchen at the old lady game. Honey, please, my nipples reach my navel and I wouldn't go where she went if it was free. And what about Mama Joyce? What she got to say about Candy sucking dick and eating pussy, being a cum catcher? Okay, what the streets got to say about that, Mama Joyce? And is Riley gonna be on next season acting slow or what she acting? Okay, I give Kandi and Todd 8 more years of marriage, honey. 10 to finalize. Then Kandi gonna start going with a woman. Okay, and Todd gonna be straight because he gonna use Ace for a line of credit. And without their women, honey, Todd and Peter wouldn't even have a food stamp between them.
Then Marlo came to the scene and was talking about Candy horribly too, basically saying she really don't want a husband. She really wants a wife. Now, we all know that Candy dips in the lady pond. We get that. We know that. That's not a secret either. But I guess over time, like I said, I really wasn't paying attention to them like that heavy. I follow Candy, but I don't follow Candy. And if that makes sense. I am a fan of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She happened to be on the show. I happen to be a fan of the Escape group. She happened to be a member. But am I a Candy fan? Not necessarily. Understand what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, their marriage has come to this point. Again, they're not officially divorced yet. She's just filed. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't really know. Who's to say that it'll go through? Who's to say that they're going to go all the way to the end with it? We don't know. They have two beautiful kids together. That might keep them together. I think that's kept them together up until this point. But I don't know. Maybe it was some infidelity. Supposedly something came out about Todd hooking up with a stripper named Diamond. Is that Diamond from the Players Club? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have Todd staying in this for the long game, though. However, he did quit his job because, as a rule or policy, he was not supposed to be mingling with the talent, with the housewives. In order for them to, I guess, continue with their relationship, he had to quit his job. So he gave up his career, I guess, to be a kept man. And she was okay with that. Evidently, it was something that they decided together. However, it did lead him to go into different ventures. He brought up, let's do a restaurant. Let's do Old Lady Gang. That was his idea. Well, according to Todd, that was his idea. They had somebody else that kind of sued them, said that that was kind of his idea, but they ran with it. But I don't know. That was somebody that Phaedra Parks was representing. I don't know. Anywho, so and then they came out with Blaze, which is their steak and seafood restaurant. They named that after their little girl. And they have a trucking company that Todd evidently oversaw. So there were other sources of income that Todd kind of spearheaded. He had to do something. He had to bring in some money otherwise. And I think maybe that, and he even said himself, the fact that he started up these other businesses and bringing, I guess, some funds to the situation, maybe Mama Joyce kinda backed off a little bit. I think she still wasn't totally off of him, like, her eye was still, like, on him, but it did show that he could generate some income, and, yeah, so I don't know. What do y'all think about this breakup with Todd and Candy? Like I said, everybody saw that this was coming. I mean, it's been 11 years though. They lasted longer than I think most thought that they would last. Again, they have kids together. I remember Todd saying something about the little girl when she was first born. He really didn't have any connection with her because, Candy uses a surrogate for her. And, moms and babies bond by touch and feel. So once she was born, of course, she was bonding with her child that way. I believe Todd could have bonded with her the same way, but I guess he just didn't. I guess he has a different type of bond with Ace, their son, because Candy carried him, versus their daughter. And I wonder what is it? Oh, their daughter's name is Blaze. I don't know why I wanted to call her Taylor. I don't know why that. But anyway, their daughter's name is Blaze. I just said that. They named the restaurant after her. So, and I remember that was a bad little girl. I remember watching a video where Ace was trying to be so loving to her. And she was just not trying to have it. She was like, "Get away, go away." She was screaming and crying, and she was being nasty to him, and he was still steadily trying to be the loving brother. And Candy was watching her, and Candy said, "Why are you acting like that? Why did you do that to him? Why are you acting like that? Why did you do that to him?" And she was just like, "Oh," she was like, "No. Why did you do that to him?" And then, it was she just watched her. She was being really mean to her brother. And he was still like, "Oh, Blaze." He wanted to be, so huggy and being so warm. But he wasn't phased by it. He was still trying to give her hugs, and she was like, "No." And she was screaming. And Candy was just like looking at her like, "You were just a mean little girl." But Todd mentioned that she was a mean little girl. But Todd mentioned that, and all Candy could do was laugh because it wasn't a lie. So in different conversations, and I think what was really revealing was when he had his own YouTube channel and where he tried to have like these discussions, different things. He would put out a scenario of what life events and what you would do, getting people's opinions. And he did it a lot when she was getting her makeup and hair done. So a lot of the questions were posed to the people in the chat as well as her glam squad. And her glam squad would answer be, relationship questions and, career questions or just different scenarios about certain situations. What would you do? How would you handle it? Things like that. And he would pose different questions from time to time, which kind of would go back to how him and Candy would relate. But there was one particular um topic where he talked about getting a break from your significant other. And he didn't mean like break up, but just a break to go out and do other things like hang out with his friends or what have you. And they were basic all of the ladies that were in the room, her hairdresser, her makeup artist, as well as Candy was like, "Well, what do you mean? Like go out every Thursday?" And Todd was like, "No. Go out when you want to. It doesn't have to be scheduled. It doesn't have to be like in this time frame. It can't be, it doesn't have to be monitored. If I just want to hang out with my friends, go out for a drink, because you might not be feeling it like on a Thursday. Maybe it's on a Monday. He was saying sometimes you just need a break and breather. And I don't know, as there were people were like saying red flags were going up then. Like he wanted a break from Candy. Like he always found himself with her. And even in a conversation, I don't know if it was part of a show or I think it was part of a show where he was talking about he didn't want to go on tour with her. He wanted to stay back and do what his love is. Her first love is producing. He likes to create movies. He likes to create shows, things like that. That's his first love. And his thing was, "I got a new office space. I want to stay home, stay back. I have this team. I can't basically, have them sitting around doing nothing." He said, "I want to, stay back and get started on, a movie and produce this and that or whatever, whatever." And her thing was, "Well, why don't you want to go with me on tour?" And I feel like a part of why Candy always wanted him with her, because she felt that he wasn't on the up and up. Why do you have to have your husband with you 24/7? I'm just saying, like, I feel like she wanted him on the road with her because she did not trust him. Yeah, that's what I believe. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of things were popping up, a lot of things were being discussed, but I still don't have, and possibly, I mean, I don't know. I still don't have Todd sticking around to play the long game to get what out of the relationship? Because if the prenup was ironclad, like they said, he's not getting anything. Now, I think, I think he can fight it only because he did give up his career for her. And because he's been married for her for 10 years and he's accustomed to a certain lifestyle, I don't think she's gonna be able to get around not paying him something. I just don't. Todd and Candy are separating. It's unfortunate because I'm sure the kids may feel a little something. How y'all think Mama Joyce is gonna feel? Mama Joyce, how do you feel about this new situation? I am elated, baby. Anyway, y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, this is the backup channel to my primary channel, which is the My Read a Minute. Please support. It's a free way to support the channel if you subscribe and like the video. With that being said, everyone be blessed. Peace.